How's it going, guys? Thanks for joining my small engine repair channel. Today's project is on this Yardworks push mower with self-propel system. Doesn't look that old. The previous owner said that the engine is seized. So let's take a look at it and see if we can't figure out why. Alright, so I just picked this up this morning, and I'll be honest with you, my interest got piqued before I started the video here, so I've already started a little bit of the troubleshooting. When I picked this up, the owner tried to show me that it was seized by pulling the cable or the rope. When he pulled the rope, he neglected to pull the brake band here, so I was kind of hoping that that was probably the issue, because if you don't pull that thing, the brake on the flywheel here is not going to allow you to pull the rope over and get the engine to start. So I was hoping that was the issue. It turns out it wasn't. I pulled the handle and pulled the rope, and it was still stuck. So what I ended up doing was flipping the mower over on its side with the carburetor side up, and I disconnected the spark plug wire, and I started to turn the blade manually, and it was stuck a little bit, but it didn't take a whole lot to actually get it to move. So now it's free, and it will pull, the cord will pull it over. So let me show you what it's doing now, and we'll pick it up from here. Alright, so it'll start now, but as you hopefully heard in the video, it makes a huge racket and it's blowing a pile of smoke out the exhaust here. So that is not very promising, but we're going to dive in a little deeper, maybe see. I have one idea of what I'm going to see here first before I start calling this engine terminal. Is I want to make sure that this blade is not hitting the deck anywhere, because I've seen that where the blade is hitting the deck and it makes a huge racket. So let's just investigate this here. Before I do this, I'm gonna disconnect the spark plug so that when I rotate this blade around, it doesn't actually want to start up on me. So it looks to me on both sides that there's plenty of clearance all the way around, unfortunately. So that racket we're hearing is coming from the inside of the engine, and that's gonna most likely just make this thing terminal. I don't see any oil like coming out. I mean, I guess we can start going in and checking the valves, but I'm sure the valves are opening and closing because it wouldn't start otherwise. I did check the oil. I thought maybe that the oil was overfilled and potentially hydrolocked the engine, which was would have been another easy fix, but unfortunately that is not the case either. The oil was perfectly fine. Hey guys, further update for you on this Yardworks mower that's making the racket when it's running there. Just out of curiosity, I did take some of the components apart. I took the valve cover off, and the valves were moving just fine. I actually put a bore scope in the spark plug hole to check the cylinder walls, and there's it looked like maybe a little bit of scoring, but nothing that would indicate why this thing was making the racket. I took off the starter recoil and the flywheel. Looked under where the flywheel is. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. So I thought, you know what, this engine's already toast, so what I'm going to do is just let it run, see if it blows up. And you know what, after about 20 seconds of running, the noise settled down, and it actually went away, actually. And so I tried the self-propel system, and there was absolutely nothing. So I thought maybe something else was going on underneath the deck here. So I have you underneath. I've got the blade off, and I had the blade adapter off, and this is what I want to show you guys. This pulley that's supposed to be connected to this crankshaft, and it will be running all the time, and there's supposed to be slack on this belt here, so that it actually doesn't drive the wheels until you engage the handle up top. And then what happens is it rotates the transmission here, and it tightens up that belt, and then that belt will turn this pulley, and this pulley will actually turn the wheels if everything is working okay. Now I don't know that that's the case because I don't see the wheels actually turning, which they should be, if I recall correctly. I'll dig into that further, but I'm trying to figure out the cause for the racket. And this is what I found. All right, so this is kind of how I think this setup goes. This is honestly the first time I've worked on one of these, but you see these little cutouts, little U-shaped cutouts in the blade adapter. Take a look at this pulley. It's got little pieces, little nubs that actually fit into this blade adapter. They're the exact same size, okay? The other thing is that there's a set screw on this pulley. And if you look closely, it looks like set screw, some sort of a marking here on the crankshaft that would line up with that. If I pull this out a little bit, it would, those two marks would line up. Spin that a little bit. So I don't know. I'm having a hard time telling, because there is a little bit of a, I'm trying to see if there's a little bit of a raised area, like this set screw was supposed to be threaded into the crankshaft and then it just snapped off, or does this set screw just literally torque down to hold this pulley onto the crankshaft, and then it lines up with the blade adapter like that? Like, if that's true, and that all I have to do is crank down this set screw, like, that seems pretty rinky-dink to me, honestly. I don't see that is plausible. More plausible that this actually snapped, and I'm not going to be able to probably fix that. So what I'm going to do is take this off, take this pulley off. I'm just trying to look for evidence that the set screw actually snapped or broke. It's hard to tell. To me, it looks probably like it's broken. So I'm going to try and get this up on the bench. I'm going to take that set screw out and see if there is evidence of that set screw snapping off here. All right, so let's see if we can get this to actually focus. It's hard to say whether or not that is broken off. Like it looks, I don't know. It does kind of look like it's broken off, but I can't tell. I've never worked on one of these. I've never assembled one, so I can't tell honestly if, like, to me it doesn't seem like it would be strong enough in either case, to be honest. Even if you screw this set screw into the crankshaft, I don't see how that would be strong enough to keep it on there. I guess there's not a lot of torque on it, so I don't know. Like, I have a hard time believing that this set screw would be the only thing kind of holding this thing together. Just gonna screw it in some more. Gonna kind of clean out those threads. So anyways, I'm gonna try and tighten down, put this back on and tighten down that set screw and see if this is going to stay in position the way it's supposed to. So I'm going to put the belt around it here, kind of line up where that set screw with that marking on the crankshaft. Alright, so this is what I'm going to try first. I've put the blade adapter back on and I've tightened down this set screw as tight as I can get it, and it seems pretty secure here. So yeah, I'm gonna try it like this, and we're gonna see if this thing kind of slides off again or the set screw comes loose. I'm gonna say that this was probably the cause of that noise, and it probably was jammed up at some point somehow. If I had gotten under here first to check this over to see what could be causing that jam of the engine there, and why the person got rid of this. One other thing I noticed I wanted to show you as well is there is a spring up here, sort of at the end of the screwdriver. You can kind of see the spring. That spring itself is actually come loose. It's supposed to attach itself to this post in that hole. So I'm going to have to grab this spring somehow, and I'm going to refasten that spring. Here's the end of the spring right there. I'm going to have to grab that, and the whole thing has just kind of come loose from the other end. So I'm going to reattach that spring. It fastens itself to the body up there. Again, I'm not sure you're going to be able to see that, but right at the end of my screwdriver there's a spot for that spring to attach to the body. And then you pull that down and attach it into this hole. So I'm going to hook that back up. Then we're going to go ahead and put the blade back on, and I'm going to try this thing and see what happens. Alright, so I suspect it will smoke some because I did have it on its side for quite some time. But we'll see if this thing fires up and continues to make a racket, and see if the self-propel works now. All right, so there you have it, guys. I had to adjust the cable here for the self-propel system. Once I did that, the self-propel worked perfectly. So I think this is a score now. I'm happy I only paid 30 bucks for it, but because once I clean this thing up, service it and everything, this thing's gonna sell for $200 probably here in the heart of the spring. So alright, so hopefully you guys enjoyed the content. If you did, please go ahead and show me a little love. Smash the like button down below. If you're not a subscriber already, consider doing so. That really helps me out on my channel. And until our next project, guys, take care.